make sure you do a needle tool check. Alright, so still super important to have balance to the rim, but not only that, you need to leave a little bit of thickness at that rim, because what we're going to do is we are going to split it in half. So if you do not have enough clay there, you won't be able to do it. So yeah, I'm continuing my pull, and maybe I'm lessening up right there instead of going completely off of the rim. And I'm making sure that I'm really compressing after every single pull. I don't want this to be super wide, so I'm going to bring that in. So I want to do all my vessel refinement just as I always do. Get all of the water out of the interior, be totally done before I split the rim. Alright, so I'm definitely going to make sure that I flatten it. So when I'm flattening it, I am supporting a little bit with these fingers here. I'm not just pushing down and collapsing the vessel, so I'm only pushing so far. These are pinching slightly inward, slightly, they're not pinching in a lot, but they're supporting that. Alright, this is really important. Some of you have a newer model toolkit, okay? And as they got newer, they got cheaper. So, like everything else. So my wooden rib tool has this very, very, very sharp right angle right there. Some of yours might be more rounded. If they are, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a few of my sharp angled ones up here, so you guys can use those. You're not going to want to use the rounded one because it's just not going to give you a clean cut at all. Alright, so I'm going to wet that tool. Remember, I got all the water out of the interior. I'm going to kind of hold this hand underneath. So these fingers are just hovering underneath, right under the rim. And I'm going to just place this right here, about halfway. Yeah, you guys can see that. Okay. I'm going to hover. And now I'm going to put it down, and now I'm going to start putting down pressure. Now when I feel comfortable, I can speed my wheel up as I'm pushing down. Push down. And that's probably good. I want it to be low enough that a lid, average thickness, can sit in there and not be way above the height of this rim. So I don't want to drop it down this much because I don't want a lid that's like a centimeter thick. So I want an average thickness downward. If I feel like this, and then I'm pushing down. So, but another thing is that, thank you for mentioning that, I'm not going like this, right? This would gouge all of it away. I'm going like this. That's a pressure downward like this. So it's gliding with my wheel, which means it won't gouge. You would be here. I'm sorry, you would here, here?
Yeah. Other side.
Yeah, you'd be in the reverse speed. So I mean, even if I want to drop this a little bit more, I can go back. Again, that little finger's inside supporting, and I could drop that a little bit lower.
So you're supporting under the part you're dropping?
Yes, now supporting, I'm not pushing against it. I'm allowing it to fall into this finger. I'm not pushing against it. If I do that, I'm gonna rip the whole thing. So what I like to do now is I like to make sure that this little flange, so this is your flange, that's flat. And the other thing I like to make sure is that this edge here, because it always seems to kind of span out like this a little. I want to bring it back up. I'm just going to put my finger here, my sponge on the inside, and I'll push that back up. And I'll make that nice and rounded. There we go. That looks fine. I'm going to want to make sure I do any kind of cleanup here as well. And now I'm ready for my calipers. My pen. This measurement crossed will be from edge to edge, interior edge to interior edge. When we do lid style 3, we'll be doing this style, but then have to do 2 measurements of interior and that measure as well. So all we're gonna do is this one. And I'm gonna put that down. And again, this amount of clay is however much you want. I do recommend as well still making 2 lids for the vessel. I'm going to cone up. I'm going to make sure that I switch my calipers. That's going to be great to edit. It's like swinging. Alright, my calipers are here, so I like to kind of give myself like estimate of how much I'm going to pull. And I'm going to section off a little area again. You guys should be pros at this now. Think about the things that you learned from your trimming so far. Maybe you could have used a little bit of less clay. Things like that. Maybe just little things like how well were your lids? How much did you have to trim off them? Could you throw them thinner? Were they too thin? So we're doing the same thing. Thumbs not in the center, pushing down. Then I'm going to throw my knob however I want. Trying to do something different. It's more of a bowl shape now. Alright, so again, fingers underneath. And now I'm going to really kind of concentrate on just pulling out. And I can do a measurement check. And I have to go a little bit more. Looks pretty good. So, same as always, I'm going to take the water off. I'm going to make sure this is nice and smooth and refined. I will cut it down to whatever area I feel comfortable. This is the same exact trimming style as lid style number 1. There is no trimming necessary at all in this unless it doesn't fit well. In case you throw forms and you want to try and trim, I do not believe I have a video on how to trim this. I will post that video once I do the trimming demonstration, but if you're working ahead, it's the same basic trimming thing. So this comes off.
You said like trimming the form part.
No, you don't really do anything to the vessel. The only thing I'm gonna do is, the only thing that it might need to be trimmed is that if the lid doesn't fit, then I might, if it's too small, it's no good. If it's too big, that last lid, right, I had to trim downward because it was shaped like this. This lid, I might need to trim inward because it might be too wide. So then I would still put this piece down, center it, trim in so it fits into that flanged area. Does that make sense? So pretty simple. Again, the challenge is going to be throwing the vessel.